Dogs down south. What's up, everyone? It is Tuesday night. Tuesday night coming off. Why do we still have the Texas and Georgia lead-in video? Because we're coming off of a big win in Austin this past Saturday night, and I just thought we'd keep it up there because we're going to recap. We're going to talk a little bit about it tonight. We're going to hit a lot of things on our bye week stuff. It's not just going to be me, though. It's going to be me and my man, Fish. What's up, Fish? How are you, man?
What's up, man? Good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, you don't sound excited, man. We just beat Texas, man. Are you? How are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm watching it again. Like as we do this, it's on, and it's seven minutes left in the first quarter. So two interceptions in. I'm reliving the stress. I'm re-going through the emotions.
Dude, you seem to watch the games over as we're doing these podcasts. It's kind of like you're kind of get into your mojo, man. That's pretty cool. I like that.
It gets me excited. Like I'm back in the mood.
Yeah, man. No, I feel it, man. Hey, it's gonna be a good show tonight. We're missing Mr. Richman Green, but he might just hop in, just ghost in. If you're not already doing so, man, we had a pretty good viewing last week where we talked about and previewed Georgia, Texas, and a lot of listens on Apple Podcasts. So if you're not familiar with the show Dogs Down South, make sure you go and follow us on Apple Podcasts so you know when that episode pops up. The last episode I think was 35, which was Georgia versus Texas, and we previewed that show and had a lot of listens to it. So go follow us on Apple Podcasts. We always hit it 24 hours later from this one. So if you missed this one, as well as Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, go like, follow, thumbs up that YouTube to get us to 1,000 followers, as well as Facebook, Dogs Down South. Fish, we started out tonight, man. Georgia, Texas, great win on the road in Austin, hostile crowd, maybe a little bit of a drunk, pissed off, beer bottle throwing crowd. But hey, man, give me your first take on what the Georgia Texas victory meant to you from Saturday night.
I think my hair turned a couple of shades grayer. And it wasn't really because of our play. Like the game was, we were up most of the game after Carson got his interceptions out of the way. Like it was all good. We were rolling. And then about 2 minutes left in the third quarter, man. Oh my God. And I don't know how deep you want to get into this. We don't have to talk much about it, but you know what happened. We all know what happened. I mean, that's obviously not okay. It's obviously not right. I hope something is happening to that referee, either the head or the whole crew, whoever, or, something has to happen because that's not okay. Like, never in the history of football or since they made the rules have you been able to go back and overturn pass interference. They tried it 1 year, I think. They tried instant replay on some pass interferences, or you could challenge pass interference or something like that. Anyway, and it didn't work. So you're not able to do that anymore. So if they had the conversation before they announced the penalty, before they said pass interference, defense, 15 yards or whatever, then that's okay because they group up, they talk about it, they all decide as a collective it's not a penalty. So they pick the flag up. That happens all the time. Mm-hmm. So that's all right. That's okay. But once you announce it, man, that's it. It's done. Like there's no going back. And, so the fans act like little spoiled babies. They get mad. And it was a bad call. I think it was a bad call. I think there was a little bit, but way worse doesn't get called. So I agree. It was a bad call. So,
yeah, man,
but that's not the point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not the point. Like, you can't walk it back. Like, that's it. It was over.
Yeah. Call was terrible, man. Call was absolutely terrible. Joel Klatt, he talked. I don't listen to a lot of Joel Klatt. He flies across my TikTok feed every once in a while, but he probably said it best though, man. He's like, we haven't had a lot of great officiating this year in the SEC as it is. And these guys were just, I mean, if we're going to hit the officiating thing, which I allowed you to do, pull it up, pull out the flag however you want to, is probably the best way to say it tonight. But at the end of the day, man, like, yeah, Kirby even said it. He said, listen, I'm not so upset that you wanted to get the call right. I'm upset that you allowed the fans, the student section, to throw beer bottles, water bottles, whatever you want to say, all types of debris onto the field, which puts our athletes and our fans from both sides in a lot of danger. And then you choose to allow that action to change your mind about the call. That was the big thing. I thought Kirby really danced around that really well. He may still get fined, but I don't think Kirby cares. But it's right. Like, we don't even want to talk about what you said. Like, they no, that is not a reviewable call. And here's the thing: you didn't even ask. I mean, you couldn't, but you didn't ask for the replay. You decided to wait, throw the flag, and then as this like beer bottle fest is going on in the corner, and Sarkeesian's walking over to, I mean, did you see the coaches? They're like having to hold them off like a bunch of 5-year-olds. In the meantime, the refs are taking a peek at the jumbotron, going, "Ooh, we might have messed this up, man."
Yeah.
Over in there, and they're like, "Nah, no flag, man. He missed it." And of course, Kirby, man, Kirby was pissed. I mean, was he pissed that we didn't get the call? Because honestly, that was a part of the game where it was like, if they score, you look at all the momentum, and we said it in our group text. Look at all the momentum that had been created from the defense in the first half to the obstacles we overcame with a defense from Texas that I thought was really good. I thought it was really good. I thought it gave Carson a couple fits with coverage. And you take it, and it becomes a completely different game. The difference maker was when the thing that I will not ride the offense of Georgia for in this podcast tonight is because when all of that happened, and you had to say, okay, we have to regroup from all this. We just got crapped on by a call. The offense has been, out of the 2 units tonight, out of the 3 units, if you're including special teams, one of the one that has been probably not at its potential tonight. They got to come out and they got to figure out, okay, now we're at 23-15, and we got to figure out, if we give them the ball back 3 and out right there, Fish, this is a completely different ball game, all because of the likes of an officiating call. The offense, I thought Bobo made some of the, I mean, do I think the flea flicker call was like but I think that Bobo did something that everybody, wants him to do, but yet if it didn't work, he's going to the fryer for this. But he got creative, and he said, we got to get our mojo back. We got to get everything we just lost back. And he did. I mean, the flea flicker was still in the booing from the Georgia fans. It happened. It was so loud, the play got overlooked by the fact that the fans were still booing the officiating call. And we had a lot of fans there that day. But I agree with you, man. We could have really, like, momentum swing right there was not in our favor. And hats off to the Georgia offense for going out there, shoving it down their throat. And then Etienne had to get it in. I think he scored twice to score once.
Yeah, I think he did too.
On the goal line. Yep. And then it was, you give it back to your defense, which had played a really incredible game throughout the night. I mean, and you said finish the game, and they did, so kudos to them. So much stuff, man. And when you look back at Kirby's statement, like, it couldn't have been said better, man. He's like, and I said this, man, they played us like the stepchild all week, man. We were the ESPN stepchild. No offense for stepchildren out there. I don't want to use that as too terms. I just think they played us as punks, maybe is a better statement. Like, nobody picked us. I think if you go look at my Facebook, on my personal Facebook thing, I said, we're right in the middle of game day. I'm boycotting it today because I don't want to sit here and hear this old dog and pony show broadcast.
But I did go back and watch it after we had won, so I could just sit there and laugh at all of them. Desmond putting that hat on, looking all stupid, putting the toothpick in his mouth, like just trying to talk all Texan. Just Pat McAfee and all his crap. Nick Saban, I was just sitting there laughing at all of them. The only one that I didn't make fun of was the coach because that's Lee Corso. So, but it was
Yeah,
fun to go back and watch it. Be like, yeah, y'all are all wrong. Y'all are all dumb. Sorry,
yeah.
sorry,
I
sorry,
think
sorry,
they
sorry.
tell. I think they tell. I think they tell the coach what to pick now too. Like that sucks
I
too.
think they do.
It's a dog and pony show, man. Like it's a. I think I didn't tweet it. I mean, I messaged it out. I mean, I'm starting to be a game day hater, dude. Like
I
I don't
watch
even want
Nation.
game day to come to. I mean, I don't even want game day near us, man. It is something that is now being produced that it was never meant to do. It was never meant to do what it's doing. Um, it portrays this image of it was meant to be this cool thing where like, hey, let's get out of the studio, let's take our crew and let's go to a location where college football and tailgating and everything in the atmosphere is happening to bring some liveliness to our background scenery. That's where you got the camaraderie of the fans that were from both sides. You got the signs, you got the everything around it, and you just preview the games for the week. You talk about all the games. You do exactly what you would do if you were in studio, and then maybe you at the end you give a little bit more light to the teams that are there that you're visiting that day, and you pick the games, and then you do the headgear. That was cool, man. That was like what I grew up on, right, and what you grew up on.
Yep.
Now it's like, I mean, we're going from people that are getting like police are having to show up at these things, and people are showing up at like midnight. They're bringing in cheerleaders. They're bringing in celebrity guest pickers, which, I mean, whatever. I mean, no offense, Nick Saban's wife. She ain't no celebrity, bro. That was a straight
No,
up, that's
she's
a
not.
Broadway musical happening right in front of our face. Like,
Oh my
Georgia
God.
had to go against, game day and Tuscaloosa and game day and Austin in both of those games. And I would say they're 1-1 against them both. Should have been 2-0 against them both. But I think Herb Street knows it too, man. After his comments this week,
Yeah,
they should be ashamed of themselves.
yeah. They
And
should.
I got no
I mean, they
problem.
should.
I got no
All
problem
they
with you
gave
picking
us
against Georgia.
No, all they gave us all week, though. I mean, it was even called ESPN Texas Takeover. Like the whole weekend, they named it. They titled the weekend, and the only thing they gave us was a 2-minute Quavo spot at the beginning of the game.
I agree with
That's
that.
all they gave us. That's the only hype. That's the only thing they gave us all week long.
I agree with that.
Everybody wanted us to lose. The world wanted us to lose.
I agree with that, man.
But we didn't let them. We didn't let
I
it
agree
happen.
with that. A lot of things. Let's just kind of, as we recap, you look at the first half, a lot of different things. Obviously, first quarter, ETN scored in the first quarter on that run. Really, really great scheme around that. I agree with you from last week. I think you mentioned our red zone offense has been very creative.
Yep.
You can
Much better.
you can look and say like maybe I wouldn't have done that or maybe I'd have done this, but I think that's been why we've been good is we've kept the other teams on their heels with what we're doing in the goal line. And then you look at second quarter, obviously Peyton Woodring, we kick a field goal, we're up 10-0. Then 8:30 in, Trevor Etienne, 15-yard run. And then that was a big run right there by Etienne to put us up 17-0. Etienne had a really great day. I think that was probably his best game as a dog against Texas. And then we were up. I think we went in 23-0 at half. Felt good about the first half. I even went on my live stream and was like, hey, it's not over. And I knew it. I felt it. If you go back and listen to that live stream, I was like, it's not over. There's going to be a push. There's going to be something. There's going to be, this is what we definitely have to do. And obviously, third quarter was huge for Texas. They used the turnover to their favor. Then Isaiah Bond scored. It never got past 23-15, though. Obviously, once ETN ran it in after 11 play, I mean, they put an 11-play, 90-yard drive together in 6 minutes. Incredible drive. When I look back at the game, though, Fish, and we can talk about this as an overall look at it. Let's talk about offense real quick because I think there's so many great things. We'll end with the defense because I think there's great things to say about the defense. But when you look at the offense, like there's some things I can't blame from Saturday. I can't blame Bobo. I think Bobo had a really great scheme. I think we were very balanced. We knew who we were going to go to. And when you look at running backs and receivers, you could see very clearly that we wanted to get the ball in the hands of Trevor Etienne. We wanted to get the ball in the hands of Dylan Bell and Dom Lovett. You could see those things, right? You could see on
Yep.
defense that we wanted Jalen Walker to be a lot different than he was against Mississippi State. We wanted him to run free. If Michael Williams could be healthier, at the healthiest he's been, we could get a lot more pressure with 3 and 4 and allow Jalen Walker to spy and do what he does best. All these things came true for us, except for this. When we targeted Dylan Bell, here's my first thing, wide receivers. When we targeted Dylan Bell and Dom Lovett in the first half, we just had too many drop passes, man. Like, we just dropped the ball. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. You can't even blame Carson Beck. I mean, because that gets in his head. It's got to a little bit. That's got to affect his psyche a little bit. Like, man, like, I need somebody I can trust. And I've always been a big proponent of, we're not going to miss Bowers and McConkey that much because they were hurt a lot last year, so, they weren't out there all the time. So he didn't really have a security blanket, but, these guys got to catch the ball. I mean, if they catch those passes on the first and second drive for the first quarter, we might be 7. It might be 14-0 going into the second quarter. I mean, who knows? Because those keep the drive going. Those drops keep the drive going. They're first down balls that those guys are dropping. He's got to be like, who can I trust? Who can I throw the ball to?
Somebody said that earlier this week, but later on in the weekend, I saw somebody who wrote that honestly, if you look at Lawson Lucky's drop and you look at the drive where we got the field goal instead of the touchdown that we really should have gotten a touchdown, and even if you include the interception, I mean, it could be 34-0 at half. Like what? Like you. Somebody said they might be glad that our receivers dropped the ball because Texas would have been not only would have been in shock like they were from 23-0, but they would have been a culture shock from the fact of between changing quarterbacks. By the time we got done with the second quarter, they'd have been asking for Sarkisian's head, and he came in as the GOAT of the SEC, like he was, if
he was the czar.
Yeah, you heard it all week, man. You heard the things like, is Kirby losing his edge? If Texas gets this win, is Texas firmly, are they stopping this traction of Georgia becoming the new Alabama and the new wave and this, and that, and the other? You heard it all last week, man. And I ate it all in. We went live and we talked about some of the things that need to happen. But I personally think that one of the things that hurt us the most on offense was, I don't think it was the turnovers. I think the turnovers were from Carson having to feel like, I think he feels uneasy throwing some of those balls.
He's got to try something. He's got to force it.
Right.
He's got to do more because they're not doing their job. So he thinks he's got to do more.
Yeah. And Rich, I don't want to put Rich Man on he's not with us tonight. He might pop in. I don't want to put him on spot, but some of his comments during the game where he was really down on Carson, and it's easy to be down on Carson, but listen, guys, Carson has come in and said, we've come in and become a team that is more reluctant. We're 70-30 pass right now, right? I mean, we put it on tape. We're 70-30 pass. ETN now is a bigger threat to catch the ball than he is to take a handoff now. However we win, I'm fine with. I mean, Texas Tech 7 years ago threw the ball 94% of the game and used to blow people out. I don't think that's our DNA, but I also think Kirby is doing what we're asking of him, even though he doesn't have to do anything we ask of him. And he's being creative. He's understanding what is going to best help us win the football games that we're in. So I think offensively, our worst thing we did all night was just catch the football. I don't know if it was our turnovers. You can't say our turnovers was the worst thing we did. Catching the football. Defensively, I mean, what do you say? I mean, what do you say bad? Excuse me, let me go back and reiterate something. That was the worst thing we did. On offense, I think one of the best thing we did was, I think the line looked incredible, dude. I think the line blocked really well. I think Carson had time. I think this was
Mr. Wilson made his presence felt. It's amazing the difference he makes.
Yes, I think our line they were up to everything we asked of them. That looked like I think they felt challenged after the few weeks. They weren't on some of these awards lists that early awards list going out for offensive lines, and we've been bummed up, but I think between Ernest Green getting lit up, for the Kentucky game, and the injury with Drew Bobo, and not having Tate, like you look at that and you go, man, the scary part about that is that's a 75-80% Jared Wilson, and there's no Tate Ratledge on there, and that offensive line was probably a better looking offensive line than this talked about. I'm talking about just drilled in our head. Texas's offensive line is the best offensive line we've seen ever. And it's like, brother, I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
Words, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. I didn't see it. All I saw was Twin Ewers and Arch Manning running for their lives.
Exactly.
Like, most of the time. And then that shot of them on the sideline during the game where they both just looked so stressed out. Like, oh my God, like, dude, you know what we're doing? You know what to do? What's going on? Like, they were just shocked. Both of them were just shell-shocked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Georgia personally created a quarterback controversy, although they say there's not one. But Georgia personally created a controversy. And then second half, I mean, when you look at, I think, defensively second half, I think what you saw was the challenge of, I think the defense had to shut down the momentum. They had to continue to make sure the momentum was shut down. I think we continued to get pressure. I think what we did best the second half was we weren't so easily maneuvered after we got down to understand that what we were doing was fine. This was a momentum shift. This was not what we were doing, and our scheme was wrong. We stayed the course of our defensive plan. It was very key. And we got pressure towards the end, and some of that pressure we brought first half came back and ended up helping us in the second half to keep them from scoring again. Incredible defensive, showing, in my opinion. I didn't have any problems other than, other than the fact of all the targeting calls, which I can look back and probably.
Man, I'm surprised Kirby didn't get a flag thrown on him for the way he attacked Katie George after the game, bro.
I'm
surprised,
my God. I'm surprised
hot.
Kirby didn't target somebody.
I know it, man.
I'm surprised he didn't just hit somebody with the crown of his head. And we'll talk about, obviously, as we preview Florida next week.
He went in hot.
Yeah, we'll talk about what that looks like for Florida next week, because now we're down Dan Jackson, we're down Joel Aguero for the first half of Florida, but I thought Sokovia White came in, did a great job.
A lot of playing time.
Yeah, I'd agree. KJ will grow up quick. Maybe Ellis gets put in there. We'll see what happens. But I thought the defense did a great job. I thought the offense second half, I think what was key for the offense and what they did really, really well in the offense the second half was we sustained drives. Offensive line continued to help sustain drives. We didn't, 3 and outs could have been the difference in the momentum completely swinging back. We didn't allow that to happen. Carson played an incredibly leadership headsy game. He made a run towards the end of the game to seal the game. That was just crazy, man. Like, everything you thought was a sack, and that man gets out of there, and next thing I know, he's running a first down, and I was like, bro.
Yeah, it was like 35 or something like that. He rolled out to the right, and then he turned back, but he was about to go out to the left side around the left tackle, but then he cut inside, went right up there for like 5 yards. Something like the game sealing first down. It was
gutsy, man. It was very gutsy. So I mean, and I don't really think the offense in the second half. I don't think we were. I mean, we were better in the second half. I don't think we had to perform in the second half. I think we just had to keep it at bay. We ran the ball effectively. We needed to shut the game down. That was it. It was a. I don't think you can go back. The good news about it is maybe you can look at that defense. If you give me that defensive outing every game, we're going to win a lot of games. So what I'm saying to you is I think the defense showed up, and that's their best game of the year. I still don't think we've gotten the offense's best game of the year. That's scary. And if the defense can put together that complete game with the offense having their best game of the year, that's where you're going to see and Texas got manhandled from it, and the offense didn't have their best showing. So I don't know who's going to run into us when we have our complete showing. Hopefully it's when it matters. Maybe it's the national championship. Who knows? That would be nice. If Lord willing we get that far. But yeah, so huge game, passing stats. Carson Beck was 23 of 41. 175 yards. That's hard to say though because we did have a couple sacks in there. I think he did. If and he finished over 200 something yards if you don't count 3 interceptions, but you know it's a win, man. Carson doesn't have but 5 interceptions on the year, 6 maybe 6 now, 6 on the year.
Yeah.
Quinn Ewers 25 of 43, 211 yards, 2 TDs and interception. Trevor Etienne 19 carries for 87 yards. One stat that blew me away in the first half was the running backs from Texas were averaging 0.1 yards a carry. 0.1 yards a carry is
What they have total yards first half, like 20?
it was
19, 26?
37 and a half.
Was
37
it?
and a
I
half.
thought it was
Yeah.
lower than that.
Yeah, 37 and a half. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. I know we're going to hit a little bit of Texas and Georgia next week before we preview. This is a game we'll keep talking about because it's a team we could see later on down the line again. And we definitely don't want them to have, have any revenge on this. We could talk about it all night, for all honesty. But let's move on a little bit, though. Let's have a little fun. I thought it would be cool to get into some power rankings. We won't stay here too long, but we definitely will hang out long enough to where we get this accomplished. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. Let's look at some power rankings. Obviously, another big conversation that happened over the weekend, Alabama, Tennessee. Alabama is, I don't know a team that's done worse after beating Georgia than Alabama. I mean, Kalen DeBoer went from being the king of football, beating Georgia, to, I don't know, them prematurely calling for his job. What was your take? I mean, really quickly, man, before we get into power rankings, what was your take on that game? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it, man. It's definitely not the Alabama of old. It's not the Alabama we're used to. They're just, I don't know, coming apart at the seams. Maybe you can tell there's no discipline, from people kicking balls, yelling, throwing tantrums when they lose a game, to just doing jump shots, in the middle of a play. Like, what in the world was that?
The offensive coordinator said there's nothing going on out there that we don't practice and rehearse. What? Bro,
I don't believe
describe
it,
a
'cause that was
circus
nuts.
without describing a circus. Like, yikes.
Kalen DeBoer's offense. They're falling off. They beat Georgia somehow, some way. Like this, the team that showed up that night is not the same team that played Tennessee yesterday, or lost to Vandy, or almost got beat by Carolina at home. Like, I don't know what our deal was. I don't know if that was Bama's best game of the year. I know it was so far, but is that the best thing they're going to ever do this season? Like, is that it? Was that the peak? Now it's a decline. Who knows? But they're falling off, man. They're 2 losses before November for the first time since when? 2007. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're ranked the lowest they've been ranked in 7 years. 7 years. Wild. Let's hit some power rankings real quick. I'll do like 4 or 5, and then we can talk about them. 16, I got Mississippi State. Excuse me, my apologies. I have these backwards. I had these mirroring another ones. 16, I have Oklahoma. Oklahoma right now is a hot mess. It makes the Texas-Oklahoma win not even a viable win. Texas needs to worry about now. What they need to worry about now is besides Georgia and the loss to Georgia, we mentioned it last week.
Vandy.
Texas hasn't played anybody, man. They haven't played anybody. That had a lot to do with how Georgia came out against them. We talked about it. We said it. And in my opinion, that Oklahoma Red River, what is their biggest victory right now? Their biggest victory out of 6 victories is against Mississippi State, who I have at 14 in the power rankings right now. So Oklahoma, I have at 16. They fired their offensive coordinator. They have blamed their, I think, have pretty much blamed their offensive coordinator, Venables has, for the lack of success of the team this year. as he had to probably, because I'm sure if he didn't, he to get another year at Oklahoma, he will have to continue to ride that train of it's not my fault. So I have Oklahoma there. They just swapped quarterbacks, so they're back to their other guy. I think his name is Jackson. I forget his name. Maybe his last name. No, his first name is Jackson. I forget his name. They're back to swapping quarterbacks out again. They got another guy. I think it's John. Somebody is going to be the interim OC when they take the field this weekend. So I got Oklahoma dead last. 15, excuse me. I got Kentucky, man. Whew. It's going downhill quick for Mark Stoops, man. Kentucky 3-4, just didn't look good. Offense looked appalling. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say he wasn't on my hot seat list at the beginning of the season, but now I think Sam Pittman got up, kept the seat warm for him, and now Stoops' butt is firmly planted right there in the hot seat.
Yeah. I think it's definitely a battle right now. If you'd have told me beginning of the year, I want to go back and listen to some of our podcasts, but if you'd have told me that it would be between Pittman and Stoops, of course, I've told you Stoops has been on my list for a while. I would still say it would be Pittman, but I think Stoops is firmly, like you said, committed to taking up that. He's fighting to see, musical hot seat chairs. The music goes off. He's fighting to get in that seat. I don't know, man. He's got a $40 million buyout. The best thing he can do for Kentucky is to retire, which he's not going to do. So I have them at 15. 14, I got Auburn. Man, the crazy thing is Auburn could be so much higher, man. But Hugh Freeze is just looking like a man who's exhausted. His press conferences are just, no offense. I don't want to, you can talk to this a little bit. The man looks like he's just been on a bender for like a month, man. Just drinking like after every practice, after every game. He just looks worn out. He looks like he's just been like he drank like a keg of beer and he got on the wrong boat and they dropped him off in the middle of the Atlantic and he got sunburned and they finally found him and then they give him a press conference. He just looks terrible, man. What do you think is going on at Auburn?
I wish I knew. And I know my wife wishes she knew. Nobody knows. It's terrible. Like just the fourth quarter, the first 3 quarters of the game, man, they're great. They're always in the lead. Like they've had a lead more than they've been behind. They don't give up or they don't start playing bad until the fourth quarter. I don't know what happens. Yeah. Like they just can't move the ball, can't score. Defense is getting a little tired, I guess, because they've been holding it down the whole game. That could be a little bit of it. Hugh Freeze might have lost his edge a little bit. Maybe he just doesn't have the talent. Who knows? Yeah,
but if you're Hugh Freeze, that press conference, the last one he gave was quite bogus. He's like, it was the Monday press conference that I don't know if Feinbaum had it or that SEC podcast, but he's scratching his head and he's like, I'm telling the players, do I go for it? Do I not go for it? Do I take a chance? Do I not take a chance? Do I do this? Brother, you are the head coach. Your job depends on it. And do you know how much?
He just keeps trying to blame his players, man. He throws them under the bus so much. Who wants to play for that? Like, who wants to play for that guy?
Do you know how much money is put into the Auburn football program? Sir, what you have to do now is you're the leader of this organization. You have to step up and you have to lead. You can't be sitting in front of a press conference and continuing to be that person that goes, well, I don't really know. Do I do this? Do I go back to what I did 32 years ago? He mentioned when he coached high school. He said, he says, I ain't had but X amount of losing seasons since 32 years of coaching back when I was high school. It doesn't even sound like this man wants to be at Auburn anymore. And I was high on this guy 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was too. I think we all were, given his history. The man can coach, and the brothel excursions or numbers that he had going on back in Mississippi or whatever was going on over there, I don't think that had a lot to do with his success, how he was coaching, so I don't know, but I don't know what's going on.
They're in trouble, man. They got some games on their schedule left that, he's at this point, I'm just here to tell you, if I had to make 2 big decisions for you right now to help your organization, this is what I would do right now if I was Hugh Freeze. Get Peyton Thorne out of there and the bench is his new destination. If you don't want to run the play that's called, and the choice of the play that you pick gets us nowhere, then you don't deserve to be on the field. I don't care how much NIL money you've gotten; it's not winning ball games for us. I see them pissed off at each other every game. They're at each other's throat. Sit Peyton Thorne. It's time to look at the future. You're not going to the playoffs. You may still have a chance at a bowl. It is very, very slim. Second thing I would say is if you're not going to do that first thing, just give the ball to 27 more. Just give it to 27 more. Just
He needs
take your
more than 15
chances.
touches a game.
Yeah,
He's got to get the ball more.
Yeah, just give him the ball, bro. And if you don't get first downs, you don't get scores. At least you don't look like an absolute mockery of a college football team. So I got them at 14. 13, a team that's moved up for me is Mississippi State. I think they've played really well the last 3 weeks. They played well against Georgia. They played the toughest schedule they could have ever played the last few weeks, meaning the last 2 games, obviously against, last 3, one's at Texas, one at Georgia, and then the last one they played was at Mississippi State. I thought the quarterback Van Buren has looked really good in those 3 games. I think he is the future at Mississippi State. But credit to Jeff Lebby because they've just gotten better and better and better. They're a team that could easily not be 1-6. They could easily be 3-4, 3-3, something like that. So yeah, I got them right there at 12. I got Florida at 12. Big win against Kentucky, but was it a big win? I think Kentucky is a dumpster fire right now. They don't have an offense. But kudos to Florida for trying to warm Billy Napier's seat up a little bit. I think we play them in a week and a half, and DJ Lagway and this Florida defense, the defense is looking a lot better. Offense is showing some spurts, but I don't know if you can gauge the offense off of the opponents they played. But definitely, I would say right now, Florida just kind of sits there because that's where they deserve to be. Off of their record, 4-3. I mean, Napier is getting a little bit of a microwave seat right now, independently. 11, I got Arkansas. Man, I had so many high hopes for Arkansas, and couldn't finish the deal against LSU. I know Arkansas fans are kind of like, we thought we were on the way. We thought Sam Pittman. I've never seen a fan base who was ready to re-sign Sam Pittman 2 games ago, and now they're ready to fire him again. Grant Adams, if you listen to this later on, buddy, I mean, I feel for you guys because it's just like, man, you don't know what Arkansas team is going to show up, and believe me, I know what you're feeling, buddy, because we went through a couple of games as Georgia fans that are like, we don't really know which Georgia team is going to show up sometimes. Is it going to be the offense, but the defense doesn't? The defense, but the offense doesn't? But yeah, man, Arkansas is just that's just where I got them right there at 11. 10, I got South Carolina. Big win, South Carolina this past weekend. They beat, I'm having to call this off, Oklahoma. Yeah, they went in and just killed Oklahoma. I mean,
on the road, man.
Yeah, on the road in Bedlam, dude. Like, it's just stomped them. Dude. I'm sorry, that's Oklahoma State. That was in where's Oklahoma? That's in
Norman.
There we go, Norman. Appreciate that. So yeah, South Carolina, obviously 4-3. They got some early losses. Beamer has a good defense. Beamer has an offense that needs some work, but his defense is winning some games for him. And then number 9, I got your favorite man, Fish. I got Vanderbilt. Is Texas on upset alert this week?
Yes, they have to be. But they're feeling bad, man. They're down in the dumps. They're either going to come out and smoke them 42-3, or it's going to be a tight, close game up until like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
If Vanderbilt beats Texas and Alabama at home, with the scoreboard hanging from the scaffold in the same year, man, I don't know, man. You're going to be a part of something that
Who's the more confident team? Who's the more confident team going into that game?
I mean, Vandy, they played down to Ball State, but I mean, I would say the minute we think that's going to happen, Texas is going to win like 60-5. But I think Vandy's the confident team.
We start predicting these things.
But I will say that's a tough. I mean, this tough offense. I like Vandy's offense right now. I think they're clicking on all 4 cylinders. It's going to be interesting. Definitely
Yep.
interesting.
I'm actually going to watch it. I'm going to be
Yeah, it'll
tuned
be a
in.
good game. 8, I got Missouri. I got them here, man. Missouri's got their schedule ahead of them. Obviously, big game this week in Tuscaloosa is Missouri, Vanderbilt. Big Brady Cook leaves the ER, comes back. I mean, the offense looks absolutely atrocious. Probably loses that game if Brady Cook doesn't decide to forego his MRI and run. I mean, it's like a Rudy moment, man. It's like you
Yeah,
just
I
picture him
know.
in the ER and then he just runs back to the field from the ER. I don't know where the ER is at in Missouri, but like,
It's
did he
got to
just
be
run down
close
the
to the
street?
stadium.
Did he catch an Uber?
It's got to be. It's got to be close.
He ran back in the stadium with a cape on. Everybody went wild, and he wins the game. He wins the game, bro. They should have
We
lost
were
that
we were
game.
watching that. We were watching that. I mean, it was just sad. It was terrible.
I don't know, man. You don't got
Unless
to
you're
worry
a
about the
Missouri fan.
defense in Missouri. You got to worry. I mean, I thought it was the defense you were gonna have to worry about with Missouri. This Luther Burden, Weiss offense, like it's just not connecting, man. Like there's just a lot of
Yeah.
slow start, laggy starts, and their games are ahead of them. So we'll see what they're made of. 7, I got Ole Miss here once again too. I think Ole Miss's games are ahead of them. I think we can't count them out. Georgia's going to play Ole Miss in the Groves pretty soon, and a lot of people are thinking that's the game on our list that could be a upset special. Out of the 4 games left is the Ole Miss at Ole Miss. So I got them there. 6, I got Alabama. Man, that's probably the lowest I've put Alabama in the power rankings in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I've heard everything from quarterback controversy. Does Ty Simpson come in? Is Jalen Milroe? Like, do we try that? Do we look at what are we doing on defense? Like,
Yeah.
there's just a lot of uncertainty. At Alabama. 5, I got Tennessee. Tennessee, man. I mean, I don't know. That game could have went. What do you think about that game, man? I think we talked about this a little bit, but I thought Tennessee's defense showed up, but I still think Nico and the gang, man, they're struggling to find offense.
Yeah, they had to turn to Dylan Sampson a lot. He had to carry him, literally carry him on his back especially the second half. But he also, I'm not saying he single-handedly won the game for him, but man, without him, that game could turn out a little different. The defense stepped up. The defense is looking good for Tennessee.
I agree.
That makes our game with them a lot more interesting. But
yeah,
kudos to Tennessee, man. I like seeing Bama lose.
Yeah. I like. I went back and looked at our picks, and I think we all picked Tennessee, which maybe we did. No, I picked Bama. I said you guys picked Tennessee. I picked Bama, and I thought Morgan Wallen was going to write the song in a negative way, but
it's going to be a new song. Yep.
Yeah, not true. Not true at all. I lose that one. 4, I got Texas A&M. Man, oh man, how big is this Texas A&M Texas game going to be pretty soon? Like,
it's going to be huge.
We're going to look at playoff scenarios here soon, and if Vanderbilt gives Texas a run for their money, Texas A&M and Vanderbilt were not supposed to be games on the schedule for them. Remember, we talked about how Texas's schedule was really not that tough. They gave them this red carpet rollout, and so now you look at it and you go, Texas A&M was supposed to be, the punk of the SEC with a new coach and Elko. Although I said, watch out, look out for Elko, a really good coach. I think he's going to bring this team together. Connor Weigman, a lot good going on. I like Texas A&M. I like them at this spot at 4. I think that game against Texas is going to be incredible. I mean, I don't know when it is, but game day could.
We'll learn a lot about them this weekend when they have to go to Death Valley.
I agree. That's what I was going to say. LSU, these two really don't matter because they're right there neck and neck. I got them at 3 and 4. LSU, they're who they are is right ahead of them too. They got to play. I mean, that game against Alabama in Death Valley and Texas A&M in Death Valley, like, wow, man. LSU, if they want to stamp themselves as a playoff contender, here it is. I mean, Brian Kelly, you want it, you got it. Would honestly say if I could play my way in, or if I could, hope my way in, I would rather play my way. And they're going to get a chance to do that. So I got LSU at 3. I got Texas at 2. I think they fall here. Obviously, after the loss to Georgia, I have Georgia at 1, and just kind of how it kind of maps out. With that being said, just let's take 30 seconds or so, and let's just look at some playoff scenarios. I pulled some playoff scenarios. So um, if I love it when my Bleacher Report stuff doesn't come up because I made my own. Here we go. So if the playoffs were to happen today, this is obviously where I have them at. Bish, you can tell me kind of who you think might be there and who not, and we can talk about whose bubble. I know Rich Man has this scenario that it's all dependent upon how the SEC pans out, who plays in that particular spot. There's a lot of football left. We got Ohio State, Penn State left. We have Oregon. Does Oregon play Penn State this year?
Ooh, I don't know.
Trying to figure out who Oregon plays the rest of the year, because if Oregon doesn't play anybody the rest of the year, then yeah, man, they're not going anywhere from where they're at. But if the playoffs happen today, these are the 4 that I have as a bye. I think that I have at 4. I have Iowa State winning the Big 12. I just think they're a lock for the Big 12. I think if the only other teams I look at is Colorado, and I think Colorado's defense for me is a little wishy-washy. And then
They've been playing pretty good lately as a team, not the defense, but the team.
Yeah,
they got a big win.
Shedeur and I mean, you got to look at a healthy. Is it a healthy Travis Hunter, right? And last few games he has not been healthy. I think Iowa State, they're definitely out of left field for me. But when I look at their record and look at what they've persevered through, I mean, but also Iowa State's a drop. The ding dong from UCF dropping the ball at the 5-yard line was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. They lose that game.
Yeah.
So they get second life right there. I would have them at 4. A lot of people have Miami riding high for the ACC. I'll let you speak into it in a sec. I think Clemson's going to be there at 3. I think Clemson wins the ACC. I mean, they're averaging between 500 and 700 yards of total offense. And what I like better about Clemson, I think Miami's offense is good. I think Clemson's offense is good. So I look at Miami and Clemson's defense. I look at the defensive battle right there. I think Clemson's defense has a little bit of a hand up on them right there. So I'd have Clemson at 3, which is crazy because that means a team that we really put a pretty good, whooping on at the beginning of the year is actually is in a bye week. Georgia at 2, if I had to name it on week 9, with that first round bye, and then Oregon at 1. Now here's what kind of changes for me. First off, Fish, do you agree or disagree? Is there anybody else you'd have in that top 4 right there?
No. I like that. Iowa State. It's are they going to have to play Colorado? Do they play Colorado?
It's a good question. These are all great questions. These are why that we cover Georgia and the SEC, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now that matters. That matters because if Colorado could, sit in there with that unpredictableness, they can show up. If they show up, they've got a chance to beat Iowa State.
Yeah,
they've got to have the same caliber talent, if not a Heisman candidate quarterback supposedly, and a Heisman candidate wide receiver / cornerback / star / whatever he is. Like he plays everywhere. Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
And then Shiloh back there. Shiloh's actually a pretty decent safety. He's actually pretty good.
Yeah, he's not bad. I can agree with that.
I don't know if he'd start at Georgia, but maybe not. I don't know. Julian Humphrey is really making me wonder about him a lot lately. He's made more bad plays than he's made good plays.
He got better.
But not sorry, we're getting off topic. But I like that. Georgia to win the SEC. They're probably going to end up playing LSU in the SEC championship, I think. And then I think LSU's lack of defense plus minus Harold Perkins because he's out for the year, which the fact that they're doing all this without their best defensive player when defense was such a handicap for them last year is amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kudos to Brian Kelly and the defensive coordinator and the staff over there, the players for stepping up, man. It's amazing. And I have to listen to his little butt every Monday on Feinbaum for at least 15 or 20 minutes. So I get to hear all about everything that's going on over there. So because I watch Feinbaum, I'm just going to watch Feinbaum. But
Feinbaum is already starting this rat poison about Ole Miss upsetting us. Feinbaum's just pissed because Alabama's going to shambles.
Yeah,
that's why Feinbaum's pissed because Alabama's going to shambles. So he's trying to tuck Georgia under the, who knows, man.
Oh, he's salty. He's
Yeah.
salty. He doesn't want Georgia, and I think he likes Kirby, but I think he's just mad because all the DeBoerness and everything. Just the DeBoredom is a better way to say it.
Does he like Brian Kelly?
Yeah. Oh, he loves Brian Kelly.
Oh wow. Bunch of old farts.
They sit there and chit chat every day, every Monday, and he's so happy. Paul just glows and lights up whenever Brian Kelly pops in. Hi, Paul. How's it going today? Like, it's just, he lights up. He's like a little kid, man. He loves it.
That's unreal.
Loves Brian Kelly.
That's unreal. From there, we'll go backwards, and we're going to actually, when we add Richmond next week on Florida Week preview, we're going to talk a little bit more about the playoffs. Richmond is he's the kind of I would call it the suspicion, the suspicious, like these things could happen, the conspiracy theory person. So I'm interested to see what he has take on with this.
He had a lot to say Saturday.
Yeah, definitely going to replay this a little bit on next week. But I got Boise State entering in as a 12th seed. I think that's a good place that they will probably end up. I love. I think the last name of the running back from Boise? Is it like Gentry?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, no, I don't know.
He's a man. I mean, we can just call him the man. We don't know his name, but let's just call him the man. I think they're going to ride him like they ride the Bronco into the playoffs. I think he's the 12th seed. 11.
Genty.
I got. What's that? Yeah, there you go. That's
Genty.
his name. Genty. I said Gentry, but Genty. I was close.
You were close.
11. I got LSU. I think LSU sneaks in as one of 4 SEC teams. This could go a couple different ways. But
they don't lose again before the SEC championship. If they don't lose again, if they go in with 2 losses and Georgia's their last loss, like if they don't lose again until then, they're definitely going to be in.
Yeah, I agree. This week it's week 9, right? So I mean, I think they sit there. I think you have to put Tennessee above them because they're ranked above them right now until further notice. They have a bigger win. You look at the Arkansas win, and you look at the Alabama win. Unfortunately, the Tennessee-Alabama win is a little bit bigger. So I have LSU in 11, which I think they would love that. Like you said, without Harold Perkins, with Nussmeier being his first year as the full starter, a lot of new faces around there, line that's improved, defensive improved. So that's really good for them. At 10, I don't know why, but I just know that this is where the committee wants to see this team. But I think Notre Dame squeaks in right here at 10. We'll see. Notre Dame's got some games on them. They obviously took care of Tech, but that was with no Haynes King. I don't even think that game should really.
That's a noon kick this weekend. I can't wait, man.
Who's Notre Dame play this thing? Oh yeah. That'll be a good game.
But Navy's ranked. Navy's undefeated.
Navy passes the ball too now. At 9, I got Miami. I think they're going to both be undefeated. I mean, well, Georgia's going to be Clemson's loss. I think Miami's going to be undefeated going into the ACC championship, and you can't knock a 1-loss ACC team out to another. I just think they put Miami there at
Clemson's
9
a better football team than Miami.
For that reason. I agree. 8, I think you got Tennessee squeaking in right there. I think Tennessee is your 3rd best team that makes it into that spot. Any of this is week 9. Remember, this is week 9. This is not how I think it'll end. This is week 9. If it had to be picked today, with Tennessee or LSU, you could insert Texas A&M in one of those spots. And watch out for Texas A&M because if they want to put 5 SEC teams in, Texas A&M will be the 5th team. I don't think Missouri is. Yeah, I don't think Missouri sitting there at 6-1 is going to be a playoff team. I just don't see that. They got to play South Carolina at South Carolina. They got to play Alabama. They got some games on their schedule left that are going to be a little bit challenging to them. And then at 8, I have Penn State. I think Penn State has a couple of games they're going to play that they're going to take a couple of losses that are going to put them down there in the 8th position. At 7, I have Ohio State. I think Ohio State plays. I think it's a rematch with Oregon for the Big 12, and I think Oregon beats them again. But week 9, that's where I got them. I don't know. 7, I think 6. I think you're going to see. I'm sorry. Earlier I said 9. I got these reversed. It was 6 Penn State, 7 Ohio State, 6 Penn State. That was low for Penn State. I think Penn State, if you're looking at week 9, Oregon and Penn State are your 2 best teams in the Big 10, sorry. So I think you have them at 6. And then at 5, I have Texas. I think Texas will be the second best team in the SEC. If Georgia in Week 9 would be the top, so that's kind of a preview. We're going to really get into this really heavy next week. Rich Man joins us, but Fish, let's do the fun part. We don't have to worry about picking the Georgia game this week, but let's end the podcast tonight with no stress picks, man. No stress picks. So let's start it off Saturday, October 26th, 12 o'clock, ESPN, Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Ole Miss 20-point favorite. Who you got?
Man, have you heard anybody utter Ole Miss in the past 2 weeks since they lost to Kentucky? I was just thinking about that. I haven't heard squat. I haven't heard Lane Kiffin's name. I haven't heard Ole Miss. I haven't heard Jackson Dart's name. I haven't heard anything on any of the shows that I've been watching. Haven't heard about them in 2 weeks. But, oh, yeah, I think they come out and I think they make a statement win. I think they probably win by at least 21. I think it's a blowout, straight blowout.
Yeah, Ole Miss right here. They're going to try to make their name be heard before this stretch of schedule for them, because they're going to try to. I think if they have another loss in them, then they got to vie for that. Hey, this is what this is what it looked like as we got through our season. We beat these people 62-5 or whatever. I think they need that. 7:30 Eastern Thursday night game. Really good Thursday night game. Pitt.
Oh, I know.
6-0 Pitt versus a 5-1 Fran Brown Syracuse team. I got Pitt at -6 right now. 6-point favorites Thursday night in the comfortable. Oh, this is not going to be in the comfortable confines. This will be in Pitt. So it'll be a little cool that night. Who you got Thursday night football?
I think this is going to have a lot to do with where the game's played. I think home field advantage rules today. Pitt, and they'll cover.
I like Pitt.
Win by a touchdown.
I like Pitt in this game. I think first year Fran Brown, I want him to win, but I just think at home Pitt will do some things that are going to challenge Syracuse, and I think they win. Might win by a little more than 6. Who knows? So who we got next? We got 7:30. This is. I'm sorry. Let's not pick that game yet. 12 o'clock. Fox, Nebraska, Ohio State. This would have been a different game a couple weeks back. I think we saw some things from Nebraska the past couple weeks, but they got Ohio State as a 25.5-point favorite at home. It's noon. It's Big Ten kickoff. Big Ten kick at 12. Who you got?
It's at the shoe, man. If Indiana just waxed Nebraska, I believe Ohio State is going to wax them more.
Yeah,
I think that's definitely. I don't know about 25, but they'll definitely win. Ohio State big.
Yeah, I got Ohio State in this one too. I don't think they cover though. I think maybe they show a little bit of their adversity right here in Nebraska on the road. 12 o'clock kickoff in the shoe. You got to start looking at, is Ohio State going to be winning these games that they're supposed to win like they're supposed to win? Are they going to start winning them convincingly? Because I think that will give them the momentum to win the big games they need towards the end, and they're going to have to do that. This is turning out to not be as competitive of a Big Ten as it was played out. Obviously, we look at USC. We look at some of the teams in the Big Ten that were added that are not really kind of doing their part. 12 o'clock ABC, Notre Dame, number 12 at Navy, and Notre Dame has 12.5 points on them. Who you got?
I believe this is a neutral site game because it's in MetLife Stadium. I don't know if that's where Navy plays all their home games.
They play in New Jersey.
Do they? All their home games? Oh, okay. So
I think their field is going under some renovation stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. That's awesome. Give me Navy. I want Navy to win because I don't want Notre Dame to slide their way into the playoff without being in the conference. That's just cheating. That's just skating
Navy
by,
presents
man,
a lot of problems. Navy presents a lot of problems for Notre Dame. I will say this is going to be a shootout. This is going to be a high-scoring game because I don't think Notre Dame's defense can hang with Navy, but I also think Navy will have a problem stopping Riley Leonard a little bit in this rushing attack. This is going to be a high-scoring game, but give me the upset as well. Give me Navy. It's a close game, man. It's going to be a close game, and if it comes down to special teams, I don't think Navy wins it. I've seen that kicker, man. It's bad.
It's not great.
Yeah, just 3 more games. We're gonna pick just the big ones. I got Missouri 21 at Alabama, 3:30. ABC, Alabama 13.5 on Missouri. Is this a trap game for Alabama?
It could be. I mean, Missouri. I don't. Missouri doesn't deserve to make the playoff. I don't think. I don't think they're good enough. They almost got. I mean, Vandy almost beat them. Vandy did beat Bama. I mean, neither one of these teams, I think, are playoff contenders. But I think the lesser of two evils would be Missouri. So give me the upset. Is it an upset? Is it an upset if Missouri wins?
I don't think Alabama loses this game. If Alabama loses this game right here, man, there's gonna be a mutiny.
I want them to.
There's gonna be a mutiny, man. Nick
Saban's
Saban's gonna come out of retirement. Nick Saban's gonna come out of retirement. Game day is gonna need a new host because they're gonna give him his job right back. Take his statue down. I mean, this can't happen, dude. There's no way Alabama, the Alabama of Alabama's, lose 3 out of their next 4 after beating Georgia. There's just no way, man. And if it does, like I said, we have a lot bigger of a story to talk about next week.
The state of Tennessee has beaten Alabama this year.
Yeah. Nick going to West Virginia. I don't know. Pat McAfee be his assistant. I don't know.
That's hilarious.
We're gonna pick this one last, but we'll pick the game day pick. Washington game day is in Indiana, for only reasons because they want to get Indiana on the map and get them some recognition because of what they have done. 12 o'clock, weirdest place for them to go. Washington, who you got, Fish?
Indiana remains undefeated, goes 8-0. I don't think Washington has the upset in them. If it was a home game, if they were playing in Washington, maybe in Seattle, possibly.
Yeah,
but they're playing
Indiana wallops these jokers, man.
Yeah,
Indiana wallops these jokers like it ain't even funny. Like I said, I don't even know why they're showing up. Crazy, man, crazy. 2 more. Texas number 5 at Vanderbilt. This is a 4:15 SEC network. Texas is 18.5 points favorites. Does Texas have anything to worry about?
I want to say yes. I want to say, it depends. Is Texas defeated? Are they just, was that an emotional loss? Are they still recovering? Or to start getting them up? It's a road game. They are going to Vandy. I think Vandy has that going for them because you saw what happened to Bama on that field. So, it's been a weird season, man. And Georgia just emotionally beat them down. That wasn't just a win. It was an emotional win. I'm glad we have a bye week to get over it before Florida. Like, I'm really glad we do. It just all depends. I want to pick the upset, so I would love to see it. But no, Texas by a touchdown. I think it's close.
Yeah. Texas big, man. Texas big. I gotta think Sark's pissed. I gotta think that Quinn is pissed. I gotta think they leave the starters in for a long, long time. Even when they start going, I think Vandy becomes. I like Vandy, but I think they become a little bit more known to what break down the reality of Vandy. And it's not that I don't like Vandy. I just think Texas right here has to show the world in this one that if this is close, then everybody starts to look at Texas and go, is really Texas what they were? They haven't played anybody. Everybody was right. If this is close, they don't pick Texas. They start picking Texas not even to be in the SEC championship. So I think Texas wins big.
This is a ranked matchup.
Yeah. First time Vanderbilt's been ranked in months, years. Texas wins though. I want it to be close.
Years, dude.
If you want to know how I think's going to win, I think Texas is going to win. If you want to know how I want to win, of course, I'd love to see Vanderbilt beat Texas and Alabama with their clock being hung by a forklift. I know it gets worse every week. Last game we're going to pick 7:30 ABC. This is where game day should be. LSU 6-1, Texas A&M 6-1. This could be playoff hopes go away, or for Texas A&M this could be solidified playoff hopes. This is 7:30. This is in the 12th man. man, Texas A&M has a small 2.5-point favorite. Who you got, Fish?
LSU big. A&M's not that great.
Big.
The only team they beat, I mean, they beat Missouri. That's their best win, and Missouri's not all that. Missouri almost lost to Vanderbilt. Let's not forget that Vandy's place kicker lost that game for them. All right, let's not forget that. Like, they were that close to losing that game in OT. That close. That dude makes that kick, it's over. You know, that's it. It's ball game. And this is a completely different discussion. This
is respectful from you. I mean, I respect everything from it, but I'm just gonna not so fast. This is Kyle Field, man. 7:30 at
What
night.
happened last time? There was a giant game at that stadium, and they had all the momentum, they had all the hype, they had all the everything, and then a not great Notre Dame team, the same Notre Dame team that let Northern Illinois beat them, comes in there, beats them. Okay, that's a bad loss.
Somebody knows something, man. Somebody knows something. I'm gonna take the 2.5. Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M wins it by a field goal. I don't like Brian Kelly. I'm just gonna chalk it up to that. I don't want to see this happen. I don't like Brian Kelly. Texas A&M because I'm high on Elko, man. I'm high on Elko, so that's what we're gonna go with. Hey man, Fish, really, really cool bye week. Man, it's cool to get to talk about stuff without having to worry about previewing a game. Obviously, next week we'll be talking Florida. Heading down to Jacksonville, hopefully for our last time, maybe. Who knows? If I had my wish, it would be. Some people like going to Jacksonville, but we'll be heading to Florida. So lots to talk about previewing Georgia, Florida next week. Rich, man, we missed you, man. But we'll hope to have you back next week. But hey, man, for myself and Adam Fisher, hey, man, everybody have a great bye week and hope you enjoy watching college football this weekend without having to take any extra blood pressure pills. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs, baby.